You ever had three beasts? Yeah, I mean actual beasts trap you in your own garage, choking you out with diesel fumes while some self-appointed suburban tyrant grins at you like she just bought your soul on clearance. No. Well, let me tell you, it's an experience. And before you scroll away thinking, what could possibly be so bad about a few trucks, just picture this dump truck Bobcat trailer so big, it'd make a moving company blush, jammed in so tight I couldn't even close my own garage door. My tools 18 grand worth locked up behind a wall of pure weaponized pettiness. And there's Karen Whitfield standing right outside, clipboard raised like she's the queen of emergency powers. She gives me that fake sweet smile, all oops, jammed your garage, Marcus. Should have followed the landscaping rules. Then she turns to leave like she's just won the lottery with my misery as the jackpot. Big mistake, Karen. Huge. Because I don't know about you, but I don't like losing. So I just stroll over, drop the garage door locket from the inside, and let her face go from smug to, oh God, what did I just do? She starts pounding on the door, screaming, and for the first time all week I feel pretty damn good. But you know, Karen thought she knew every law, every rule, every trick. She thought she knew my garage system too. What she didn't know was about to make her beg me to open that door before the sheriff showed up. And honestly, watching her panic was almost as sweet as what was coming next. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this mess, me a 42-year-old newly divorced electrician just trying to rebuild after life fell apart. How did a wildflower garden nearly destroy my life? Well, pull up a chair because this story goes back 6 months, and trust me, you don't want to miss a second. So picture this. After the divorce, I just wanted some peace and quiet. Pinewood Estates looked like the answer. Nothing fancy, but close to my daughter Riley so we could do our weekend visits. Place was full of retirees, old oaks, quiet streets, nobody in your business. The kind of place where you can leave your tools in the garage and not worry. That garage, man, that was my sanctuary. Smelled like sawdust and metal shavings, not sadness. Riley loved organizing my toolboxes. She's 13, already knows her way around a voltage meter. That's how we bonded, not over sports or makeup tutorials, but wiring and socket sets. Mornings there, you'd hear coffee brewing, sprinklers clicking, lawnmowers humming a suburban symphony honestly. The HOA, sure they were around. $85 a month for keeping the medians trimmed. Sounded fair. Little did I know. Then there was Karen. If you've never met a Karen, count yourself lucky. Imagine a tax audit in human form, crisp cold, always smiling when you're about to get bad news. Biggest house on the street lawn, like a golf course Lexus, always spotless. President of the HOA, of course. Treated that role like she was running for governor. She had this way of turning rules into weapons, mailbox color work vans, anything that wasn't Stepford perfect was a personal insult to her kingdom. And that's where I went wrong. I planted native wildflowers out front. Nothing illegal, just poppies, lupines, good for the bees, drought-proof, save a couple $100 a month on water. To me, they looked beautiful. The bees loved them. Riley loved them. Karen, not so much. 1 week later, I'm drinking my coffee, Riley's picking flowers, and boom, there's a crisp letter on my door. Violation notice. Non-conforming landscaping. Install turf within 10 days or pay a $50 a day fine. $50 a day. For flowers. I stayed up that night reading the HOA charter by the blue light of my laptop. Guess what? No ban on wildflowers. In fact, original rules encouraged environmentally friendly landscaping. Next morning, I call the HOA office. Karen answers, voice like a snowstorm. Mr. Smith, your landscaping doesn't meet our standards. Which bylaw, I ask? She goes quiet. The general aesthetic provision. Send me the specific code, please. Maybe you'd be happier elsewhere, Mr. Smith. Then click. That's when I knew this wasn't about the garden. This was about Karen deciding who belonged. The next day, the real fun began. Every morning, Karen's outside snapping photos. My van, my driveway, my flowers, my mailbox. Sometimes with her sidekick, Mrs. Henderson, trailing behind with a notepad like she's covering a trial. The perfume cloud that followed Karen was so strong Riley called it mean lady stink, not wrong. But it wasn't just harassment. She started targeting my work van. Claimed it was a commercial vehicle, which, yeah, technically true, but so what, Ford Transit, not a dump truck. So I did what any stubborn electrician would do. I started documenting everything. Security cams out front, notebook with dates and times. Then I started cataloging every neighbor with a non-conforming yard. Mrs. Garcia's roses, Patel's succulents, Mrs. Henderson's own shrubs, photos, GPS coordinates, timestamps. If Karen wanted a war, I'd give her one by the book. Then she really escalated. She called in county code enforcement, said I was running an unlicensed business from my garage. I come home one Tuesday to find a county inspector poking around. He's all business, wants to see permits, business license. My stomach was in free fall. Lose my license, I lose everything. Riley's college fund, my mortgage all gone because of wildflowers. I show him everything, answer all his questions. After a long, sweaty 20 minutes, he closes his clipboard and actually laughs. "You're the cleanest setup I've seen. Sorry for the trouble." Then quieter. "Someone's called 4 times this week. That's not normal. So now I've got evidence." Karen's harassment wasn't about the rules, it was personal. And my cameras had it all. But the worst part, the night Riley looked up at me, her eyes scared, and asked why the mean lady kept taking pictures. Was I in trouble? That's when I realized it wasn't just about me anymore. Karen wasn't after my van or my flowers. She wanted me out. And I'll tell you, she almost got her wish. Next thing I know, there's heavy machinery showing up, dump truck, bobcat mower, trailer, wood chipper. All parked in front of my house, engines rumbling from dawn to dusk. Karen shows up with her clipboard, calls it emergency HOA equipment storage for some landscaping project. Her nephew's company naturally gets the contract. She says it's all board approved. Yeah, right. The noise was insane. Diesel in the air, engines idling all day. Mrs. Rodriguez's asthma flared up. Mr. Thompson started complaining about blocked fire lane access. Karen was making everyone miserable just to get to me, and she loved it. But see, here's where things started to turn. I started talking to my neighbors. Mrs. Rodriguez, her mailbox was painted the wrong beige. Mr. Thompson fined for having a 2 brown fence. 8 of us, all with Karen horror stories, started meeting at the local cafe. The more we talked, the clearer it got. Karen was running an extortion racket, not an HOA. Manufactured violations, threats, fines, all benefiting her family's company. And just like that, the tide shifted. Suddenly it wasn't just me up against Karen, it was all of us. And we started keeping records. Dates, times, photos, every shady contract, every board vote she claimed had happened. Of course, Karen fought back harder. Towed Mrs. Rodriguez's car for a non-existent violation, sent out violation letters to everyone who'd attended our meeting, even claimed our gatherings were unauthorized commercial activity. But we didn't back down. We kept meeting quietly. We gathered evidence. We got mad, but we got organized. Here's the twist. Turns out Karen's nephew's contract was illegal. No board approval, no competitive bids, just Karen and her clipboard. Then, thanks to a tip from my electrician buddy Jake, we found out Karen had an unpermitted rental unit in her garage, violating about a dozen city codes while she was lecturing me about the rules. That was when everything clicked. She'd locked my tools in with her trucks, but she'd also trapped herself. Fraud, tax evasion, misuse of HOA funds, bribery. Suddenly it wasn't just an annoying neighbor feud. It was criminal. Patel, one of the reasonable board members, brought over the original HOA documents. Turns out we only needed 67 signatures, a majority, to boot her out. We hit every neighbor she'd targeted. Got stories, got signatures, got matter. Sarah Thompson, local reporter Thompson's daughter, got wind of the story and started digging. The deeper she dug, the more corruption she found. Fake board meetings, forged minutes, double billing for work never done. Karen's empire was built on lies. But Karen, she didn't go quietly. She started sending threatening letters about property values and insurance, even tried to get me hit with a restraining order for community disruption. I still remember the taste of acid in my stomach, the way my hands shook folding up her fake letter while Riley watched me for any sign that things would be okay. She even blocked off my front door with a cement mixer, called in county inspectors claiming I was running an illegal business. But for every move she made, we countered. By the time she hired a law firm to threaten us, we had more than enough dirt to take her down. Then came the best part, the day of the showdown. The restraining order expired. County code enforcement showed up, neighbors gathered Sarah with her camera. Karen walks up, gives her little speech about authority and compliance, and I just smile, phone in hand. I dial Deputy Martinez. You're refusing to move the vehicles blocking my property. Great, come on down. Karen's face goes from red to white. She tries the Emergency Powers Act again, doesn't work. Inspector shows up, asks about her illegal rental unit. Sheriff hands her a citation. Then right in front of the crowd, I open my garage door. The backup power I'd installed worked just fine. My tools are safe. My business survives. And Karen. She's surrounded by neighbors, reporters, and law enforcement, all watching her whole world collapse. Thompson hands her the petition, 74 signatures. Sarah calls out, "Can you comment on the allegations of embezzling HOA funds?" Karen snaps, yelling about conspiracies and American values. Meanwhile, the tow trucks show up one by one, hauling away the machines that had held me hostage. For the first time, Karen has nothing to say. But I do. I stand there surrounded by neighbors and say, this was never about flowers or rules. It was about someone thinking she could control everyone else. Real power isn't about fear. It's about people standing up together. Then I pull out $500, exact change for the fine Karen tried to slap me with, and donate it to a neighborhood improvement fund. For real improvements chosen by the people. The cheers started slow, but pretty soon the whole street was clapping. Karen tried to scream one last threat, but Patel cut her off. Her lawyers were being paid with embezzled funds. That's when Karen finally broke. She turned and ran, literally ran back to her house, her fake kingdom collapsing behind her. 6 months later, Pinewood Estates feels like a whole new place. The new HOA board, transparent as glass. Open meetings, fair contracts, even a community garden where Karen's nephew's trucks used to park. My garage is now a workshop for anyone who wants to learn electrical work. Riley teaches kids about standing up for what's right, Mrs. Rodriguez makes tamales for everyone, and wildflowers have become the landscaping of choice. Karen. She ended up paying $43,000 in fines, back taxes, and restitution. Sold her house, moved to a condo in Arizona, where rumor has it the rules are even stricter, and she finally found out what it feels like to be on the other side. But here's the real lesson. The one that didn't hit me until I was standing on a ladder with Riley installing solar panels for a neighbor. Real community isn't about following the rules some bully makes up. It's about taking care of each other. The best revenge. Not just exposing the fraud, but building something better in the ashes. Karen thought she owned the neighborhood. Turns out you can't own a community, you can only serve it or destroy it. We chose to serve. And that saved us all. So let me ask you, what would you have done if someone tried to run your life with a clipboard and a grudge? Where do you draw the line between authority and abuse, between order and oppression? Ever been bullied by a neighbor or an HOA? Drop your wildest story down below. And hey, if you ever find yourself up against a Karen, remember they only have as much power as you let them.